Right, guys, so welcome to episode 7 of the Weightlifting podcast. I am here with a guest speaker. So this is Dima. I've been working with Dima for a few years now. When did we first start working together?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, wow. So yeah, Dima, do you want to tell everyone who you are, how you sort of got into weightlifting? Because actually, I don't actually know how you got into it.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Dima. I'm from Lebanon. I have been in Birmingham for 13 years, and I've got 2 children. One is 8 and one is going to be 5 next month. I'm going to be 45 this summer, so I'm like very much within midlife madness at the moment. And I've been training at CrossFit Digbeth for 2 years, and that's how I got into lifting with Connor. I apparently graduated from Learn to Lift to weightlifting this weekend. Yay! That's like a celebration as well.
How does that feel?
Well, graduating without knowing. I felt like I want to go back to Learn to Lift because
Why?
I feel like I want to learn. I'm not there yet, but
The thing is with Learn to Lift, you're just learning the basics. You've nailed the basics. You know how to move the bar from the floor to overhead in the snatch. With
theoretically,
yeah.
yes.
And now we've just got to look to take that to the next level, haven't we? We've built the foundations. We now need to build the weightlifting house. We're building the walls.
Yes. I mean, I feel like there are walls.
Yeah.
And we're sort of like put out the windows and the doors and stuff, and it's just empty inside. And we're like, now, right, like, what kind of couch do I want?
So we're into the interior design phase of weightlifting.
Yeah. Make it all smooth.
What was that, sorry?
Make it all smooth.
Yes, yeah. Make the house a home.
Yes, absolutely.
So before you got into CrossFit 2 years ago, how many years ago, sorry? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What were you doing before that?
Well, I was busy making babies for quite some time.
For 10 years before that?
No, I mean 8 years, since my baby's 8. So it's like exactly that time.
Yeah.
I did take on PT. So I've always exercised. Like, exercise has always been part of my life. Growing up, I was doing gymnastics and volleyball, and then I was a runner, and then I had runner knees, so I had issues with running. And then I was having babies for 2 years, and every time between the two, I was training with a personal trainer, but I wasn't doing CrossFit or weightlifting. So really, I've done, high intensity training throughout my life, not within like CrossFit specifically, but weightlifting I've only just started like 2 years ago.
Okay, and so you've always done training, but what made you want to start like CrossFit? Because CrossFit is totally different to just going to the gym, having a personal trainer. It's so different. Why did you want to make such a difference in training?
Well, I didn't know I would get hooked anyway. I just wanted to do. I was right. So a bit of a long story. My background. So I'm the executive director of an organization called Midan, and we work with journalists, human rights defenders, we build open tech tools that allow people to work with information better. So to access information, to fight misinformation, gender-based violence. So we work in 65 countries across what we call the larger world. So this is the global south, right? And so our huge network, and I've got a team of 38 people all over the world. So my work is a bit insane because I work across 12 time zones, but also we work in places where there are war crimes, internet shutdowns. We don't work in places where everything's okay, right? We work in places where people struggle to access information, are either being shut down from the internet or are being arrested because they're human rights activists. So the load that I get from my work is quite heavy. We work with graphic imagery, with gender-based violence, with sexual harassment. And so I was really looking for something that would allow me to disconnect from the screen. And I work at home on 12 time zones through a screen. So I really wanted to get myself up and to go somewhere, be with humans. It was post-COVID, so, And my sister-in-law then said, she used to train at CrossFit Digbeth, and she said, oh, it's a nice bunch of people. And so my entry was the humans rather than the exercise itself. I knew it was high intensity. And the personality I have, like I'm the rush I have at work, I can't do yoga. I tried a few times to meditate. It didn't work for me. Like I needed something to get my cortisol level up, which arguably is not a good thing for me right now. but that was basically the entry, to look for a bunch of good people who are trying to work on good goals for their bodies and their minds, and it's a brilliant community of people there. And then I started to, and then in a CrossFit workout there were like things about cleans and snatches and the barbell, and I had never done that. And then I looked around and I realized I was doing it all wrong, so I was worried about injuring myself. And so I decided to join the Learn to Lift class on a Saturday morning, and that's how I got to weightlifting.
Yeah. Now, weightlifting, well, I suppose I think it would be quite a difference going from CrossFit classes and you've got weightlifting movements. But the weightlifting movements are really, really technical, and then you're told that you've got 30 power cleans to complete in time. There is no technique. That technique just absolutely deteriorates. Now, I remember there was a bit of friction at the start because everything that you've been told, I was like, strip that back, forget about this. I reckon that would have been quite hard, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard because as you get started and you've got no idea what you're doing, you get told different things and you're like, right, what should I do? But now it's quite funny because when I'm doing a CrossFit workout, whoever's coaching the workout would look at me and say, CrossFit style, not corner style. and I'd be like, I can't. it's like right now it's not about time, don't tell me touch and go. So like, I find myself repeating these things. They're like, okay, you can't do a CrossFit workout, you'll never win a competition. I'm like, I'm not after a competition anyway. So
yeah. So training for you then is more about just switching off, because I didn't realize, I knew what your job was, but I didn't realize how stressful that must be, like trying to work out different time zones, but also having such a demand put on you. Yeah,
and the world is mad at the moment. Like, if you work in human rights and information integrity, you feel like everything is coming at you from everywhere anyway. So it's and I've got 2 kids, right? And I'm an Arab woman. Like, I'm from Lebanon, and my whole family is back home, and I'm raising my children on my own. And I grew up in a village. Don't imagine actually a village. It was a little town, but when we say it takes a village to raise children, so it is hard to be like, a parent with my partner, obviously, but it's just 2 of us. His parents live not too far from here, and so it's hard to disconnect from work, sort children out, get on with life, and also have mental stability. Now, the other thing that is really important, and this morning I was like thinking, do I want to get into this? But I thought, we need to talk about this more. I had really bad postnatal depression and anxiety after I had my son. He was born in February 2021. It was a dog.
Is your son the youngest?
Children. Sorry?
Is your son the youngest?
My second, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So he was born in 2021. It was like bang on, like in between, mad waves of COVID. And it just hit me absolutely from I don't even know where. And that was also why, for me, training is not even, I don't do it because, work-life balance. It actually is the space where mentally I keep things in check.
Yeah.
Because what I have also learned, training, and that's weightlifting, not CrossFit, which is why I find myself doing much more weightlifting than CrossFit now, is if I'm standing in front of the barbell and if I think about anything else than that, I won't be able to lift it. Irrespectively of what's on it, I need to disconnect from everything else. And that moment is absolutely precious in my life right now.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you get from weightlifting that you didn't quite get from CrossFit?
Well, lots of things. one is the idea of learning something new and difficult and having to get through the steps of the learning process, because we don't often get, today's life goes really fast, right? Like we have to move from one thing to the other. I don't take my time doing anything really, and unless I slow down and listen and learn and try and fail and build this resilience around trying something that's really hard. I mean, I'm finding it really hard to learn to weightlift, right?
Yeah.
And that in itself is quite exciting because it's pushing me to slow down, to remember to be humble. The rigor of like, unless you lift right, you're not going to be able to progress, because I got into the, it'll be fine. But actually it won't unless you fix it, your steps and your technique from the beginning.
Yeah.
You build bad habits, they stick with you, and then that's it. You hit a roadblock and you're never gonna get. So the prospect of like humility in front of the barbell, like I'm coming to this as a baby, and your job and puts you in this position where you think, oh, I get it all, I'm running an organization and I know exactly what I'm doing, and actually no, I've got no clue what I'm doing here, and that in itself I love.
Yeah. So you're 45 this summer.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Looking forward to being 45?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard work. I'm very grateful. I'm healthy. I've got 2 healthy children. I love my job, but also it's hard work. I just started on HRT and I'm very excited about that. So the 2 things are happening together. I'm women health and women's sexual and reproductive rights, and I'm amazed by how little we talk about these things in England. Like, I'm from Lebanon. We're not like in some rural, tiny country lost somewhere in the mountains, I live in the second biggest city in the UK, and I had to speak to 10 people about my hormones before somebody listened. So it's hard, but I am very excited about the prospect of working on my body and my weightlifting and my mental health all at the same time.
Yeah, and you are right. I think because I work with a lot of females, but like you're gonna hate me, but like older females that have got into weightlifting at times when you didn't think you could do weightlifting. Like it looks like it's a young person's sport. Yeah. And I think like having these conversations about women's health, you actually realise there's absolutely nothing out there. You go to a doctor and they're probably a male doctor that has no clue and no like desire to actually learn about women's health. Yeah. And I think it's gutting in a way, because you then you feel lonely, don't you? Because there's no sort of understanding or learning process of how you overcome this sort of the next stage of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can imagine, I'm an activist. The rage I have right now about this, right? So it took me about 18 months to get somebody to listen, and I had to go privately because I couldn't do it through the NHS, and I've got this brilliant doctor that I've been seeing, and the conversation was brilliant because we talked about body and stuff and things, and then she said to me, right now let's talk about quality of life, right? Like, I don't want to talk about what you need to survive. I want to talk about what makes you happy. And I'm like, I'm training and I'm doing weightlifting and I'm getting really into weightlifting, but I'm hitting I'm not progressing. I feel like I'm stuck, I'm plateauing, and she's like, and she is a weightlifter, by the way. I haven't told you. She actually lifts as well, and she's like, I love it. And then we got into this like 20 minutes conversation about why we love weightlifting and how we got on it. And then she was saying, do you sometimes wish you like started? Is there an echo? Can you hear an echo?
Yes, but I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like a boat, or I'm not sure what that is.
No, that's better.
Yes. So you want me to repeat that piece? So you.
Yes, yes, you can. Yeah.
So we got into a conversation about weightlifting, and she said, "Do you wish like you started weightlifting earlier, like younger? Do you feel like, oh, I'm too old to be doing this? Should I wish somebody told me about weightlifting when I was younger?" And I said, "Absolutely not." Like, and I said to her that you and I had this conversation about there should be weightlifting classes in schools and stuff, and I said that if I started weightlifting when I was younger, I'd be like competing, wanting to lift weights, wanting to do more. And right now, I feel like I've got all the time in the world. And my approach to it is completely different because I'm not lifting so I lift hundreds of, like I want to get stronger, 100%. But I'm not, I'm only competing against myself, right? Like I only want to do better next week than I did last week.
Yeah.
I don't think I had the maturity to do this if I was 25. If I was 25, I'd want to lift crazy weights, right? So then she said, we're talking about like hormones and what cortisol does and what estrogen, and she said, once you're settled on your progesterone and your estrogen, the day you come to me and I give you a little bit of female testosterone, it's going to completely change your ability to lift and it's going to make you so happy. And I was like, for the first time ever, somebody's actually talking to you about how weightlifting is making me happier and what I can do about it. So more talking about female health, reproductive rights, and quality of life. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we've sort of touched on it there, but like, how do you think your outlook on training or sort of like gym work from when you started doing different sports to then going through to like the gym and having a PT into CrossFit and then into like now weightlifting, how do you think your outlook on training has changed?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think if you grew up doing like, if sports and exercise have been incorporated in your life, it just feels like, oh, this is what's right for me right now, right? It's not like a whole new outlook about what effects is having on me. For a while, it took me a while to enjoy weightlifting, right? Because I'd say for the first 18 months, I had to make myself do it because it was really hard work. Like you would tell me the steps, I would look at you doing them, I'll try to do them, and my brain, I mean, it was lots of things, right? I was overthinking everything. It was hard to understand what it means to like, I keep remembering that you'd hold the bar and say imagine that it's like you're turning it against your body, and I'm like, it's a piece of steel. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I literally have, so it took me 18 months maybe to just feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Now I need to start working on how to. So I wasn't enjoying the first 18 months, I just have to say. I just made myself do it because I had to do it. It's been a few months now, maybe 3-4 months, where I go and I'm like, ooh, maybe I can push myself a little more because I don't have to think about the little steps of doing what I have to do.
Yeah.
And that's different with CrossFit because I know how to jump on a box, right? I just have to, I mean, the hard things, I mean, the other thing I'm really enjoying in CrossFit is like the pull-ups, for example, like things on the bars that it's strength, but it's also lots of technique. So there are things that I'm connecting between learning new skills with CrossFit and weightlifting. But I'm getting less and less excited about crazy cardio stuff, and I want to slow it down a little bit more and take my time more on weightlifting techniques.
Yeah. That is the thing, isn't it? I think when people come to weightlifting, they've done CrossFit, they've done general training, it's nothing the same. You're like, if you were learning how to squat, you're going to put the bar on your back. We're going to really generalize it here, but you're going to sit down and stand back up. You learn to deadlift. There's a bar on the floor, grab it and stand up, and then you're going to put it back on the floor. Everything is very sort of like, you do this is the outcome, and then you put it back down, and then you repeat. Where weightlifting is not that at all, isn't it? Like, the bar needs to move up, but you're going down, and it's really hard to sort of like compare that to anything else that you've done, and that does sort of take time. And I suppose, for me, I really enjoyed the technicality of going like, how the hell do I move the bar from A to B without pulling it overhead? And then you start to get really sort of ingrained in like, okay, like now this is really technical. Like I've got to actually squeeze my legs to give that bar the extra pop to get into that bottom position. And I think that's what I really enjoy with weightlifting. Yeah. That it looks so simple, but it's so in depth. And I don't think people give it the time to be like, this is hard. Like you need to respect the sport, that this isn't the same Absolutely. As training.
Absolutely, and I think this is what I like about it, is that unless you actually take your time and you break it down and you keep trying and you accept that you're going to keep trying and you're going to keep failing until you get it, and then when you get it, you can progress. Like there is absolutely a point. So I think it was about 3 weeks ago, I was in a CrossFit workout. I mean, now I never make a good time on a CrossFit workout because I'm taking my time with the lifts and a workout. Right? So like,
but it looks like a beautiful CrossFit workout.
Everybody's done and finished, and I'm like, I'm clean and jerking. If I need to know that if Connor was here, he wouldn't hit me with something. And so there were power cleans, and I always now, for example, it's really hard for me to not squat when I'm cleaning, right? If I'm doing a clean and I need to stand at the end of it, I feel weird. Like my body's like, why you're not squatting now? It's very weird. And so I was doing that, and then I could feel the pull. Like I could actually feel when I'm holding the barbell that it's as close to me as it needed to be, that my elbows are going where they needed to be, that my feet are going, and that I was pulling. That's 2 years in, and it took me 2 years to feel like, wait, that was a pretty good pull. I feel like I can clean even more now. 2 years in, you learn a language faster than that. One of the hardest things to do is to learn a new language, and you'd learn a new language faster than weightlifting.
Yeah. So I actually see how you would answer this question. So yesterday, I was at a gym coaching a weightlifting session, and this guy came over and he was like, how long is it until you get good at weightlifting? And like in my head I'm like, my response to that was like, do you ever master weightlifting? And I was like, I'm asking you the question because I generally don't think you ever get to the end. Like, what is the end? What does the end look like? And I think that's different for everyone. What would you have said if someone asked you the question? What would you have said to that?
I mean, I wouldn't look at the end. I would ask how much you're training, and like how much practice you're doing, because I've been religiously going to your sessions for 2 years, every Saturday at 9 a.m. and hail, snow, rain, mud, children. I've had to get childminders to be with my children, to be there, but I don't, right now, I feel it's not enough to do this once a week, for example. I feel like if I want to get better at it, I need to do it more often. And I am at the gym 3-4 times a week, but doing CrossFit. So I do weightlifting on Saturday mornings. And so it really depends if I don't think you master anything in life, by the way. Like my approach to learning is that it's a journey, and unless you're willing to have the humility to accept that you only get better at understanding how much better you can get.
Yeah.
But it's all in the future, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is, parenting, partnering with people, being friends, doing your job, everything, right? And it's really not, I'm not saying it in some sort of theoretical, life is a journey bullshit, really. But with weightlifting, I feel because the better I get at it, the better I'm understanding my body. This is what I love. I mean, we haven't even talked about yet, your relationship, your own body when you're doing this. It's like, I can absolutely visualize and understand so much better my own physical capabilities. And you don't do this if you're running. I mean, at least for me, maybe runners would disagree, people listening and who are runners and run crazy marathons. Absolutely. I see what you mean. But in my case, the plates you put on the barbell absolutely put you right in face of what you're right now capable of doing.
Yeah.
And you set yourself a goal and you work towards it and you either reach it or not. So it's quantifiable. This is what I find really straightforward about it. You know, it's not about some theoretical strength that right now I can snatch that much. 6 months ago I was snatching that much. In a year time, where I am, you know, and I can put a number against it.
But then, yeah, I totally get that. I think it's exactly the same. It is quantifiable. Go back to the start of this podcast when you said I finished Learn to Lift and now I'm in weightlifting.
Yeah.
Sorry. I would then say that, like, you now have, like, mastered the basics. You know the understanding. You've learnt that. So you don't carry on learning the basics. You then go to that next phase of the lift. So I think it's in, like, levels, isn't it? And, like, it's an endless line of levels, and you'll never get to the end. There's not an end. But there's, like, sections that you sort of complete, because there's people that look at you in the weightlifting classes and go, like, she moves amazing, you know. But they're like, their aspirations of to learn the basics so they can live like you. But your aspirations now of, like, okay, I want to maintain this good way of lifting and see if I can then add more weight onto the bar, because that's the goal now, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm having so many compliments in my CrossFit classes that people say that lift looks really good, and I'm like, yeah, thank you. Like, it looked really smooth. I'm like, yeah. And then, like, tap on the shoulder kind of thing. Yes, I think. I mean, we're not gonna get, you know, into the words. I don't think I've mastered anything yet. I think at this stage right now, 2 years in, where I am is that I understand what I need to do. I know the steps and I understand the flow of deadlifts, clean jerks, you know, snatches, back squats, like the moves. I need to build strength and get stronger. And I think I also need to build confidence. There's something about what you think you can do and what you actually can do. Yeah. And if you're nascent at this, because 2 years is not nothing, I'm a baby in weightlifting, you still can't get that balance right. You're too scared of the barbell. And I remember once you told me, if you're scared of it, it knows. Yeah. So just come to it with, like, confidence. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So, but what do you think you're scared of? Is it, like, scared of failing the rep?
No, I'm not scared. I love the failing part. I love the, like, you know, I'm mastering the art of graciously falling under the barbell.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely, you know, because also every time I fail a lift, I know exactly, you know, it's like, it's very good. It gives you something to work backwards from or from forward. Yeah. Right? So it's a very good. No, I'm scared of the idea. So, for example, with back squats right now, I'm squatting more than my own body weight, and the idea of it scares me, like, because you've got on your shoulder something that's heavier than you, and I'm like, what am I gonna do if that happens? And sometimes I'm actually scared of my own thoughts, because it has happened, and we've had this conversation before. If it has happened that, because now I don't have to think about the steps, I sometimes daydream, I sometimes think of, oh, what about the ballet of my daughter, or is my son doing this? And the moment that happens, I fail the lift. Like, the moment I take my brain goes anywhere beyond the barbell, the moment I can't lift it. Yeah. And so there's lots of things to keep yourself very embodied, right? Present. And it's not straightforward.
No, it's just amazing, isn't it?
I love how I'm talking about it and you're like, I love this so much. That's what I'm saying, weightlifting. Actually, yes, I'm in the right business.
So your goal overall is strength?
Yes, I mean, my goal is mental health.
Yeah.
I've said it for like 15 people at the gym already. It's cheaper than therapy. Yeah. And I've struggled with panic attacks because of anxiety a lot. And I've consistently been without panic attacks for a while because I'm very religious at my training. So my first goal is train so you're sane in your head.
Yeah.
and then is strength. Yes, I don't care about the numbers. It took me a while, by the way. It's like that sound came back, by the way. It's like we're on an airplane, are we?
I don't know what that's. I'm trying to move anything electrical off the desk.
Oh, that was it. What was that?
It was just a box. It's just a bag with nothing in.
Ooh.
But I moved it. Is it come back? Gone?
But can you hear it?
I can. Yeah.
I mean, probably if Riverside just cleans this, then that makes our life easier.
Yeah.
Going right. I don't know what I was going to say. I was talking about mental health.
Yeah.
My goal is in 2026. My goal is strength in a sense that I don't have targets. I don't know what you think about this. I know I'm here for you to ask me questions, but I want to ask you a question. It's like, what's your sort of set yourself kg goals? I don't like that. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think all goals need to go round a weight, okay? Because it's very subjective, isn't it? I'm going to lift X amount of weight, but I prefer the process of what that looks like. So my goal is to get stronger this year. I want to train 2 times a week consistently and look at doing those 2 dedicated weightlifting sessions and look to go from my 1 rep max where it is right now. I want to hit that for 2 reps, within this year.
Yeah.
Because I think that year goal needs to be quite sort of, and again, it's different for everybody. If someone was competing in the sport, it's a little bit more black and white.
Yeah. Because
they've got numbers and targets to hit.
Yeah.
But the people that just enjoy the sport, want to get good at weightlifting, I'm like, that goal needs to be sort of like open-ended. And you sort of, as that year goes on, you sort of mould it to how you want it to be. And there'll be certain like parameters through the year where you go, okay, I'm going to be really dedicated. Like the next 3 months of my training, I know work isn't going to be so stressful, so I'm going to have a little bit more sort of headspace. I'm gonna really push that weightlifting block, and I want to see if I can go from 30 kilos to 35 kilos. Okay, what can we do to get to that? Yeah, so I don't really think there's like, it has to be a black and white goal.
Yeah, I think you're right, absolutely. And the competition element, I think, is really, really, I mean, it's good to set yourself, I feel like if I've got a goal that I'm working towards, it's good to have it in my mind somewhere to get to. But it's, because I don't want to compete in CrossFit competition. Anyway, and what I'm understanding from both my therapist and my HRT doctor is that the cortisol levels, right? The cortisol is not my friend right now. I need to keep my cortisol in check. So high intensity is not necessarily what I need. So the time and the breadth of weightlifting, as it's something that allow you to build strength. Connor, you should see me when we're traveling with massive bags of
like carry all the bags now?
27 kilos, and I'm like, and it's like, and it's amazing. And I was saying to my kids, like, check me out, like, with the luggage. So I know it sounds a bit simplistic, but the strength you have from weightlifting when you bring it into day-to-day life, like, my joke is I squat with my son on my shoulders, and I can do so many of them, and I'm strong enough to do that, and that makes you feel when you feel your body's like getting older, and I can feel it. Obviously, I'm 45, right, and I've been exercising my whole life, and you feel like you're losing something, and you want to hand on to it, and I look, you sent me this video of that snatch that I was doing, that I failed the first one, and the second one I did well, and I look at it, and I don't want to share it anywhere. I don't want to compete. I look at this, and I tell myself, right, you are, your body is getting older, but look how much stronger you're getting, and that is extremely, rewarding as an exercise when you're a woman doing the kind of, all women listening with children, with demanding jobs, with lives that seem to be going crazy, taking the time for yourself to do that is absolutely rewarding and so amazing.
Yeah, and with weightlifting being like a strength sport, and the the secondary goal of your sort of goal for this year is to get a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And so that's physical strength. But what else do you sort of get from that sort of strength element to it? So like I know that you sort of spoke about there about mental health, carrying the suitcases or the luggage. What does like a strength sport give you that you didn't really get beforehand? What else do you get from it, like outside of just the gym?
I think, I mean, you know, I'm happier in my body generally.
Yeah.
Like I'm happier with my body, and I don't need to worry about what I eat because I know I've got like a healthy lifestyle. You know, I'm vegetarian,
Yeah.
and I like to drink nice wine. I don't, you know, and having the trust in my, you know, I was again going back to my HRT doctor. We're having conversation, and she's like, please don't tell me you're taking any medication to get you to lose some weight. And I'm like, I weightlift. I don't like, I don't want to lose weight. I want to build muscle, you know? So genuinely your because, you know, you grew up as you grow, you know, as a woman in society, as we're saying, not made to basically, you know, accommodate your body. You're like, oh, you've got all these ads, fat accumulating in your lower tummy because you're like, you know, menopausal or perimenopausal. And I'm like, no, it's not. and it's great that it's not, because I'm actually, you know, training and I'm lifting weights. And so body image is important. Like, let go of the simple things. Loving yourself and celebrating your body and it's changing. I know it sounds like a cliche, but absolutely celebrating your body as it changes is something. And I had 2 kids, you know, it's like my body's had, it's like a war zone. It's had its share of like growing children and feeding them. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is I because, as we were saying before, it's a very hard thing to learn, right? So as you grow old or older, you think, oh, I'm not learning much, you know, I'm just like sitting comfortably in the things that I've learned in the first 45 years of my life. And because of my ability to learn a new technique for something really difficult, it's actually quite hard to do a snatch properly, you know? My trust in my ability, my brain to learn new things, to advance is also great. So then you take that trust and you apply it to different things in life. So like, if I can do this, then I can definitely do that, you know? And then third for me, as I said, the big thing is mental health. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I suppose it goes with any sort of training that you do. As soon as you've done that training session, you might be in the worst mental health state. That you know, you've had a really bad day, anxiety's high, going to the gym just feels like a stress, you know, an extra stress on the body. But the endorphins you get after a training session, I don't know, I might be sort of talking out my arse here, but I don't know anyone that's gone to a gym or gone to train that's felt worse after it.
No, it's never happened to me.
You know, and I think sometimes there's like a good saying, I think, like the point of no return. Have you ever heard of the point of no return?
No.
So like, so I was talking about this to like one of my clients, and you know, she's got quite bad mental health. Going to the gym that adds to it, and like she then sort of spirals. So I was like, but what is? She wants to go to the gym, so we know that she wants to go to the gym, and I was like, but what is the point of no return? Once you've done a certain thing, you know there's no going back. So for me, as soon as I open the front door, like that is my point of no return. Like, I know that all I need to do is open the door. Once the door's open, I'm going to be in the gym. Doesn't matter how stressful the day is. I just need to open the front door. We looked at it, and her point of no return is just pushing open the door to the gym. As soon as that happens, she knows that she can do that gym session. Yeah. So then we created this sort of like the protocol of all she needs to do is all she needs to do is we create the goal of pushing the door open, not the gym session, just opening the door of the gym.
Yeah, I love that.
I think that helps.
I love that you guys actually talk about this stuff as well. I just want to say it's really cool. Like that kind of relationship with clients you have is really, really important, and how it's different for different people. Is also really important. Like I mean, for me, as you were talking, I was thinking, oh, what's the point of no return? I do 2 things. I I put myself in my gym clothes the moment I wake up.
Yeah.
That if I want to change my mind, I'll have to change my clothes, and it makes me feel even guiltier because I have to take my, like lifting things off. And the other thing is that because I've got two kids and they've got, Saturdays is like there's ballet and football and like there's so much happening.
Yeah.
So right now I organize my family life. Our calendar is very dependent on my weightlifting classes. So and my kids knows like, are you going to the gym at 9? And like, so I have to wake my daughter up earlier to do her ballet bun before I go. So if I don't, so I build these interdependencies of my family around my weightlifting, and I want to do it. And while people are listening, we changed lots of things. I changed meetings with about 12 people because you were doing weightlifting on Wednesday night. And I managed to shift meetings with about 12 people. I was kind of make an afternoon class on Wednesday only to be shifted to Tuesday.
Oh, dear.
So, right now, for example, my husband does Kung Fu on Tuesday nights, and it's when you do weightlifting on a Tuesday night. And I'm like, go on, when are you going to go to one level up? He's trying to go Grace Hatch. And I'm like, you just need to work harder. It's not because I want him to progress, it's because I want to be able to train on Tuesday. So yeah, building interdependencies in my family to make it weightlifting is quite,
Yeah. So your point of no return then is just once you've got those clothes on, you're going to the gym. But those days where you've had like, your mental health is bad, you've got anxiety, you're having a panic attack, how do you then go from that to then getting into the gym and doing a gym session?
I've never had a panic attack before going to the gym, if I'm
Okay.
honest, because luckily I haven't had panic attacks in a while, but when I had panic attacks, you feel quite drained afterward, like you're physically exhausted. So it's extremely hard to do anything. Like I just go to bed after.
Yeah.
And so there's two routes, right? There's the route of actually. So I have carpal tunnel syndrome. That's the other thing, is that it's a chronic illness in my wrists, and so the nerve is sort of not blocked, but it's trapped, and it means that your hands get numb and they're very painful. And I had steroid injections done, and then it didn't help, and so the only other thing I can do is do a surgery. And I've had it since I had my daughter. It's like genetic, but also gets worse with hormones, right?
Yeah.
And so when I was started breastfeeding, it hit me, and it's been 8 years of consistent, issues with carpal tunnel. My right hand's got acute carpal tunnel. My left one has got moderate. But why am I saying this? Because imagine an overhead squat with wrists that don't really listen, right? So for ages, I told myself, I can never lift because it's my wrists. Like everything is in the wrists, right? Except for back squats. And so I've also decided that I'm not going to do the surgery because it's going to stop me lifting for 6 weeks. And I'm like, I can't do that. Put that off now. And so rather than thinking, how is my carpal tunnel in the way of my weightlifting, I'm in the business of looking for the best wristbands, what is the best. So that's why you see me at different things, trying different things to see like which one works best, right? It's unbelievable how much I can overhead lift with carpal tunnel in my wrists when the doctors would say, drop anything that puts pressure on your wrists. And so on the days when my hands hurt, because that what happens, or on the day when I'm like super stressed and I say, I'd use those 2 hours when the kids are out just to, sleep in, or, I get myself in my clothes and I say, just, you're going to feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
And I trust my voice, the inner chatter of my head that often is telling me things that I shouldn't listen to. But in that case, it's like, you will feel better afterwards, just do it. And 95% of the time, I feel better afterwards. Obviously, there are times where you're tired and you're physically, and I would say, on those 5%, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Listen to your body and go to bed if you can, and tell yourself tomorrow is going to be a better day for lifting.
Yeah, yeah. So 95% of the time, your wrists will feel like, if they're bad and you go to the gym, they feel actually better afterwards.
My wrists don't feel better afterwards, but they don't feel worse. I feel better afterwards. My wrists are the same.
Yeah, and then I suppose the way that you see the wrist pain doesn't feel as heightened, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel so much better in myself. That my pain, my chronic pain, doesn't take over me and over my mind and over everything I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But also, I think that the thing that's also important about, I've never done weightlifting with anyone else than you, so my reference is very you.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important. The other thing that I was going to say is that because I've got like chronic pain in my wrists, and I trust you that you would make sure I don't injure myself. Like there's a part of how much do you trust your coach. So going back to the question of your client who said, how long do we need to master, I'd say how much are you going to train and how much do you trust your coach, right? Because I think these are the two things. So even if I'm in pain, I know that I'm going to go there. And even, as you know, like when we're lifting, I know what I can lift. I'll always ask you and say, should I add a little bit more, take out a little bit more? And I'll always do with the number you give me, because it's very much about me going there and saying, right, that's your space. I'm here to not, I take so many decisions. I have to do so many things outside my life. This is the space where I go in and I'm 100%. Just tell me what to do. I'll just do it.
Yeah. Do you think part of that though is we sort of go back and be like, you haven't got the confidence in yourself to trust that you can make that decision to lift heavier?
No, I don't think it's a confidence. I don't think it's a confidence thing. I think it's a trust thing in you, like in the person you're training with.
Yeah.
I don't know what maybe people like going to the gym and feeling almighty and powerful.
Yeah.
That's my vibe. Like I have to take lots of really tough decisions about lots of things in my life, with everything, with my family, with my job, with my parents who live back home. We had a war for 2 years. Like, if you want to align why weightlifting changed my life, is that the war in Gaza and war in Lebanon are precisely around the time I started lifting as well. So, it's kept me going in extremely hard sort of contexts, you know? I like that I don't have to make decisions, and I like that I go there and I have to listen and be humble both in front of the barbell and my coach, and that I know that you will push me. Like what I know is that you won't let me sit comfortably in weights that are comfortable, but I also know that you won't tell me to do anything that I can't do just for the hell of failing it as well, and it's that trust relationship with your coach is absolutely important if you want to progress.
Having that trust is amazing. And I think the other thing there, because you are so busy as a person, family, work, you still want to train, you still want to have time for you. The biggest thing here, and it's probably, I wonder whether you've got anything you can sort of tell the lifters, is like, or people that are listening, how do you keep that accountability? Knowing that, okay, I've got to do this, my kids have got these clubs to do, I've still got to do this at work, these time zones, I've got meetings all over the place. Because sometimes I bet it's easy just to go, you know what, sack it all off. My training time could be time that I'm just sat on my arse on the sofa, relaxing. How do you keep that sort of accountability, motivation to go, no, this is the structure, this is how I'm going to get everything in?
I think that it's the reward. It's what we've been talking about since the beginning of this podcast, is what I get from it. Is absolutely worth it. And so I need to not lose sight of that in the midst of all the madness of day-to-day life. There's things, the little functional logistical things you can do, for example, to do that. Like I block my calendar, my weightlifting and my gym times. People at work cannot book a meeting, even if they want to. So there's dedicated time in our family calendar. And I was saying, like, if we're, and I know it might sound crazy, but that's the only way to do it, is that if we're planning family trips, doctor appointments, things that obviously are not urgent. Yes, so we're not talking like I'm not going to take my son to A&E because I want to weightlift, but I'm saying things that are not actually urgent. Right now in our family home, it gets organized around my weightlifting class on a Saturday morning because everyone understands that I'll be grumpy if I don't make that one. and then getting, if there are people in your life that depend on you, sharing with them why it matters, why it's important, what you get out of it is really, really good, because then they understand that if they keep you away from it for some trivial thing, they're keeping you away of something you actually love, and it's making you a better person, right? And so yes, I think there's, if you want to do it in a committed way when you're a busy woman with work and kids, and make it part of your family story, right? Like make this part of, I'm getting into like closing, like I just got myself a new top that says lift like a girl. And I love that, right? And I chose it with my daughter. Like I was like, I got her on the computer. I was like, ooh, I want to get myself a new top because I achieved a little goal and I was going to reward myself with a lifting top. And we're like, oh, do we want a top that says smash the patriarchy or lift like a girl? And I'm like, I want to lift like a girl. Like, so bring weightlifting into your day to day, and don't make it this thing you do on the side. It's like fuel, and then you become more accountable to yourself.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And what you said there is something that I've said to everyone, and I do it myself. And I think I don't think it matters, and this is proof that it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters how busy you are outside of how busy your job is, how stressful it is. If you want to do something, you will book it into your calendar just like a meeting because you want to do it. And the thing that you get from that is what you're showing your kids that they're going to take into the rest of their life. Like, doesn't matter how stressful life can be, doesn't matter the worries that you've got, book it into the calendar. If it means that much, you're going to get it done. Absolutely.
And my son looking at me and saying, oh, you're so strong. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's what I want you to say. I want you to say, Mommy, you're really strong. Like, yeah.
So to wrap up the podcast then, we've got one question, okay? So if you could give one piece of advice to women who are nervous about training as they get older, what would it be?
I'd say two things, one inward and one outward, right? Inward looking, trust your body. It's amazing. You would be amazed to know what it can do. I'm every day I go in and say, there's no way I can do this. I mean, on the last, I know we're running out of time, but on the first, I've been doing Learn to Lift for like 2 years. I had my first weightlifting class on Saturday. The amount of like snatches that you rolled one after the other, like 3 in one go, and I was like, there's no way. When you wrote them on the board, I looked at it, it's like, absolutely no way I can do this for this long. Even in the middle, you remember in the middle of it, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And you go on, just to go. And I was like, oh my God, I did it, and that feeling of like, right, I had no idea I could do this. I can actually do this with all of the stuff in the back, right? You got your period. I mean, I got 3 of them a month now. You going in the gym saying, this is it. I can just be here. That's all I could do. Just trust your body. It's amazing. It can do amazing things. That's the first thing. And the second thing, find yourself a coach that you like, who's funny, who makes it really interesting, and who you can trust. Yeah. And then just do it.
And a coach that slates CrossFit.
A coach
in a positive way.
Coach.
No, I think that's been amazing. I really enjoyed listening to that and having your sort of perspective from it. I think sometimes it's quite easy because you're just assuming what the perspective is.
Absolutely.
And you're really sort of like digging in and hearing how you sort of like how you keep up training. When there's other things going on and there's potentially bigger things going on in life, and you've still sort of kept to that. I think it's amazing.
And thank you for having me. I mean, I feel yay, I made it into your podcast. It's cool. Second is, I feel like the more we know each other, the better I can get working out with you. So yeah, I'm really
100%. Yeah. Yeah, lovely. Well, thank you very much. That is the end of episode 7. Hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you very much, Dima, for being a guest.